Hi divas. So I know there was promised an unboxing video. As you can see, she's been unboxed. There was so much drama getting this lens delivered because it's shipped from Ukraine, and apparently UPS just was having a freak out about it. So I picked it up yesterday, and just to make sure everything was okay with it, I did open it. But we can pretend like I didn't. Oh my god, and that's the best unboxing video you've ever seen. Quick, to the point. But I would like to introduce my new baby. My first vintage Helios 44-2 58 millimeter. These are vintage lenses built from the 70s through the 90s in the USSR, so they're kind of ancient. Ben did tell me they might be a little radioactive, so that's kind of silly. But yeah, basically vintage bokeh lenses like this one are really good for if you want that anamorphic look in a lens without spending $1 billion. So consider this your first hack for filmmaking fresh out of college. But yeah, so this is her. I did take a bit of a peek yesterday just to make sure everything was okay, because this was my first time buying off of eBay. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with the condition of the lens. I mean, it's cinematted, which made me slightly nervous because that means someone's fiddled with it, but she's pretty put together. It is a Canon mount. That was the most stressful part about ordering this, was these don't traditionally have the mount type for modern cameras. But it's really cool. You can see it has the vintage actually metal aperture blades, which is really sick. I hope it's doing it for you because it's fun. The focus ring is really nice. Everything in here is pretty freshly greased up and done. There's no mold or fog, which is something you really want to look out for in vintage lenses, so I've heard. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with the quality of this. I can link down below the seller on eBay because they seem to have pretty good reviews, and I'm pretty happy just off the look of it. But I think we should pop it on to my other new baby and see what it's like. I purchased the love of my life, Cadence's Pocket Cinema Blackmagic 4K, and I have not gotten to see footage on it because I have not had a lens for it, but she gave me her Canon mount along with it, so we should be able to fit the Helios. Oh, bear with me. I'm so bad at switching lenses. 4 years of film school, and I'm still kind of incompetent with it. Oh my god. Help. Okay. Beautiful. Guys, I went to film school. I'm a filmmaker. Okay. Let's turn this puppy on. Oh, she is blown out. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Do I focus assist on here? I think so. Oh, I do. Nice. She's so vintage. Cinema. Pretty. Yeah, I think I might go out and shoot some test footage with this. I'm very happy with the look so far. I know it's log. Well, it's log for me. You'll probably get to see it with color correction. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go out and do some test footage. Okay, so I went out and I shot one thing on the Helios and then another on my Canon Rebel just to kind of compare what's going on with them. Fair warning, the footage is so shaky because it's handheld. She is bokeh though, which is exactly what we wanted. You can notice that the light in the Helios is a lot different than the Canon. When it picks it up in the lens, it refracts it more to give it more of that anamorphic, vintage lens flare look. So far, I'm very happy with the color space the lens collects. However, I am noticing I don't think the focal length is as advertised. Especially with this shot with the houses, they're supposedly the same focal length. I don't think so. I love this train shot on the Helios because you can really see that octagon bokeh, which is really
limited to vintage lenses like the Helios. It's beautiful. I'm starting to think that golden hour is definitely the vintage lenses sweet spot. I've always hated shooting golden hour and nighttime on my Canon because it turns really orange and grainy, which I don't enjoy, but golden hour on this lens is just beautiful. It looks so cinematic, especially colored. It's a little ago log, but I got very into filming birds this test footage run. I don't know, there's some funky birds up in Castle Rock. Okay, again, I'm just so confused on this focal length because supposedly they're both supposed to be 58 millimeter, but I don't know, like, I don't think they are, but maybe they are and I'm crazy. I could not tell you, but I'm excited to see more bokeh as we get into nighttime. You can see the comparison between the two, the octagons on the Helios and just that perfect circle that's very classic of something like a Canon digital lens. Okay, as we get into nighttime, I'm starting to film more people, and I definitely like the look of the Helios better. Oh god. I tried my best to like color them very similarly, but I couldn't even get as orange as my Canon Rebel just is predisposed to do at nighttime. So I certainly love the color space on this a lot better, and I think even though I still have no idea what's going on with the focal length, I do like it. It feels very cinematic and personal, which is very beautiful. And again, we can see the difference in the bokeh being oval and octagon versus that perfect circle, which I think is so cool. Okay, Carson and I went out at like 10:30 when it was actually like really dark out to go just test what it would look like in the dark of night, and I love it, but you certainly need to bring at least like a mini light with you. I love what it does to the streetlights in the background, but it's really hard to get it to pick up on the face. I think the footage does look a lot less grainy than my Canon does. I have a really hard time shooting with my Canon in dark environments because there is no aperture ring on the lens, and that's something I really appreciate about the Helios. It's really nice to like be able to manually do that like physically versus having to go through settings menus I can't even find sometimes for ISO, so I definitely appreciated that with the Helios. Yeah, and we just spent a lot of time playing around with how the light looks in something that is bokeh versus something that is digital, and I definitely think the bokeh just has a really nice cinematic quality to it. It's not too much, but it's also like very present and noticeably different, which I enjoy. I notice sometimes on my Canon, like I want like that kind of like bokeh flare and it's too much or too little, but I always feel like the Helios is pretty spot on at night. During the daytime it was a little aggressive, but definitely like it at night. We got tired and decided to wrap it up, but overall I'm pretty happy with it, so stay tuned for the final thoughts.
One eternity later.
So it's been a minute. Yeah, but here are my final thoughts, in case anyone was wondering, I would hope. I do really like this lens. To start off, I prefer a very dreamy, hazy look to movies. I think it has a very like subconscious nostalgia feeling that just really makes a movie more impactful, in my opinion. That's not everyone's, but it's mine. I do wish the aperture was a little better for like broad daylight, because it definitely I think had problems in the sun and a little bit at night, but as long as you have a light source, it's pretty fine. my biggest beef with this is that it was advertised as a 58mm lens, which I was like, interesting. I would prefer 50, but almost all the ones on eBay are 58. Maybe it's just like a vintage thing or a cinemated thing. We'll see. I genuinely do not know what focal length this is, because here it says, I don't know if you can see that, it says 52 to 72, but this isn't a zoom lens, it's prime. But on the side here, like in the hood, it says 72. But on the lens cap, it says 58. There's another one too, somewhere that I had found when I was shooting stuff that I kind of forget where it is, but somewhere on here it says 60mm. I don't know, comment down below what you think the focal length on this is, because I really can't figure it out. It also says 58mm in here, but I don't think it is, because when you look at the footage, I filmed these on my Canon Rebel, which has a zoom lens, and I had set that to like around 58mm because that's what I assumed this was, and they're like wildly different shots. So that's like my one beef with this, is I think it's actually more of like a 75, which is fine. I like a close-up shot, but definitely not what was advertised, which is weird and interesting. But yeah, overall, I love the color capacity that this lens has to capture. I was really nervous looking at the footage in log, because like it just looks so, I don't know, like lack of detail and so log, but I just tried to match the color the best I could to my Rebel, which is like pre-programmed to shoot with a LUT on it, and honestly I was really impressed with where the color could go from how like terrifying the log footage was. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this lens. I think if you're into that kind of vintage bokeh anamorphic look, these are a great cheaper alternative. They're all over eBay. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the metal aperture rings because I just think they're so cool, and like it's cool to have a piece of history. And I definitely, for me, when I make movies, prefer that vintage dreamier look from the 70s. So you get that, I mean, really easily with this lens because it is from the 70s. So I mean, overall I would give this like 7 or 8 out of 10. I would definitely collect more if I could find an accurate focal length reading, because like what the heck is this? But yeah, I mean, overall I gotta play with it more. I'm sure I could get the aperture to be nicer. I'm also not a DP, so maybe if I put this lens in the hand of someone a little more camera oriented, they could make that work a little better. But it was super fun to go out and play with it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. I think she's pretty cool. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry this video is so late, but what are you gonna do? Bye.